What's up, everybody? Reed Wallach, host of the Early Read and a Rithmm partner, here to walk you through my pressure run model made through Rithmm. Been doing this every week. We went 2-1 last week. Let's see if we can go 3-0 this week. We got 2 underdogs and 1 total we're going to play. Let's start with the underdog. Let's take Texas Tech plus 6.5. My pressure run model makes this Texas Tech plus 4.5. And a few key reasons why, as we go over to the research tab really quick. Texas Tech fits the mold of a running dog, a team that can really keep the opposition at bay on the sideline, can keep this game a little close. It's going to be a high-scoring game here for sure, total in the mid-60s. So you look at Texas Tech. This is filtered by Power Conferences. Texas Tech, this is a team 29th in rushing yards per game. Go all the way down to TCU. Outside the top 60 here. I mean, they're bottom 5 amongst Power 5 teams. If they're not able to keep the chains moving on the ground, they're going to be punting the ball back to Texas Tech and giving Taj Brooks and this Red Raiders team a ton of life on offense and have them, look, if they fall behind, the back door is going to be wide open in what's probably going to be a chaotic game between 2 Lone Star rivals. So Texas Tech plus 6.5 is our first bet, courtesy of the pressure run model. Next up, let's go on over to Baylor, Oklahoma State. We talked about Baylor actually as an underdog against Texas Tech last week. We like Texas Tech as an underdog. We don't like them as favorites, and the same can be said for TCU. But let's talk Baylor, Oklahoma State. Total 65. My pressure run model projects us right beneath the number at 64.2. And this is purely a play on Baylor's defense. Baylor in the role of favorite. I don't expect them to really lead the dance here against a banged-up Oklahoma State team. Going back to Alan Bowman, Brennan Presley, their top receiver, was banged up against BYU. Ollie Gordon was banged up in that game. Guys are dropping like flies there. Baylor, I'm not sure they're going to want to run this up. And what I really think is a key number here using the Rithmm research tab is tackles for loss. Let's go over really quick. Again, filtered by Power Conference. Baylor, top 3rd amongst Power 5 teams, right in the middle of that, 5.3. I think they're going to be able to get into the backfield against an Oklahoma State defense or an Oklahoma State offensive line, rather, that hasn't been able to protect the quarterback all season. This is a really high total where I don't see either team running away with this one. So Baylor, Oklahoma State under 65. Key number there, 65. So make sure you get that key number in. But just a high total where you're really expecting both offenses to cook there. I think Baylor's defense could wreak some havoc. And last up, let's go on out to Stanford taking on Wake Forest. Stanford catching 3 at home. I know this has been a tough look for the Cardinal of late, but you got Wake Forest traveling all the way across country. They're on the road to play UConn last week. They're now on the road to play Stanford, their first cross-country trip of the season. My model's inside of 3, so I'm happy to take the home dog catching points. And really what this comes down to is Wake Forest's defense and their inability to generate any pressure here. Again, you need Wake Forest now to really outperform expectation, really take care of business on the road against a Stanford team that's been frisky as an underdog early in the season. Look at tackles for loss. 64th is Wake Forest. And you're going to face a Stanford team that wants to run the ball. Hopefully Ashton Daniels healthy enough to keep this going. But this Wake Forest team has been ineffective at getting in the backfield. And you look over at rushing yards, neither team is all that reliable when it comes to running the ball. Stanford, yeah, they're at the bottom, but Wake Forest isn't much better. So I think Stanford and Wake Forest, in terms of rushing, in terms of getting in the backfield, I think this is a near draw. So I'm more than happy to take the home dog catching points here, especially Wake Forest after really controversial ending against UConn. I don't really like them laying points. I think this is a big market overreaction to the win last week for Wake against the middling UConn team. I'm happy to grab the points with the Cardinals. So there you go. You got Baylor, Oklahoma State under 65, and a pair of running dogs between Texas Tech plus 6.5 and Stanford plus 3. Make sure you check out the early read wherever you listen to your podcast, as well as sign up for the Rithmm app so you can make winning betting models like my pressure run one.